that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space.
As JFK stated, the moon landing would become the most impressive space trilogy this period. But did the moon landing actually happen, or was it a hoax that captivated the eyes of Americans?
We were all gathered around my grandparents' kitchen table. There must have been more than a dozen of us. We had an old, I think it was an old black and white TV, and I remember listening to the first words. It was breathtaking. It was thrilling. It was a big deal.
At the time when the United States was still behind the Soviet Union in space developments, John F. Kennedy made the bold proposal to send the first man to land on the moon.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
8 years later, on the morning of July 16, 1969, astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins boarded Apollo 11 and would become the first men to walk on the moon. At 10:56 p.m., Neil Armstrong spoke to millions of Americans listening at home.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
However, many believe that the moon landing was actually a big hoax, so that America could be ahead of other countries in the space race, a competition between nations regarding achievements in the area of space exploration. Conspiracy theorists have pointed out that during the recording of the flag being planted on the moon by Armstrong and Aldrin, that the flag was waving. However, logically, how could the flag be waving in the moon's atmosphere where no air is present, and therefore no wind is available to cause the flag to blow? NASA has claimed that the cause of the flag waving was due to it being stored in a thin tube, and the ripple effect was caused by the flag being unfurled. Logically speaking, the only light source on the moon present is the sun. However, footage has suggested that shadows created by light do not align with this idea. Conspiracy theorists suggest that this is due to the presence of multiple light sources, suggesting that the moon landing was actually recorded on a film set. Look at this visual for an example. When a light source is placed behind an object, the shadow will fall in front of the object. However, when the light is placed in front of the object, the shadow will be behind the object. Because the sun can't move quickly between the small window in which the photos were taken apart, this suggests that the moon landing was filmed in a studio. One of the most notable photos of the Apollo 11 moon landing was a rock with a C engraved in it. In the photo, the C seems to be perfectly symmetrical, suggesting that the set designer may have engraved a C into the rock to use as a marker for the film set. When NASA realized this coincidence, they stated that the photographic designer must have photoshopped the C onto the rock, while others say it was a stray hair that got tangled up during the development process of the photos. On July 20th, 1969, the moment when the first human walked on the surface of the moon will go down in the history of the United States for centuries to come. We may never know if the moon landing that captivated the eyes of millions of Americans was a hoax or not. But if so, NASA and the US government did a good job of covering it up.